Before we get into the ins and outs of some of these big game breakdowns ahead in week 8, we got to take things off the field. Well, slightly, maybe on the sideline, namely to Penn State, where, of course, the biggest news, not just in the Big Ten, but across all of college football, was Penn State's decision to fire James Franklin on Sunday. A 3-3 start to the season, yes, but 104 wins for Franklin across his tenure. A handful of top 10 finishes, a Big Ten title, a college football playoff appearance. We detailed some of our reaction to the following throughout the Sunday Instant Reaction Show, Monday A Pardon for the Review. I encourage you to go and check that out. No, but we're spinning this thing forward because each one of these hosts right here has come with a candidate that they want to present. And before we hear their candidates, what we would like to do is hear from the man that is in charge for making the next hire. Let's hear from Penn State Athletic Director Pat Kraft.
When you've made the decision, you have to make the decision with a whole heart and with conviction. And so, you know, I was going to sleep on it on Sunday. But I knew it was the right course of action for us as a program, and more importantly for the team. This is not a 3-game thing. This is really diving into where we were as a program. What is the trajectory of this program? And you all know, and I'm not shy to admit it, I'm here to win national championship. And I believe our fans deserve that. And I wake up every day trying to achieve that goal.
All right, Patrick. Well, I know that you're a big fan of the Cover 3 podcast, so you understand that we are available as a coaching search service. We will undercut everybody else around. We will provide equal work, and now we're giving it to you for free. So, Tom Fornelli, I'll let you go first. Let's provide for Pat Kraft and Penn State, who is the candidate that you would like to have their attention on?
The top candidate on my board of available options that I think Penn State could actually lure away to take the job is Iowa State's Matt Campbell. I think if you look at what Matt Campbell has done at Iowa State, a program that historically has been very difficult to win football games at, yet he's been winning a lot of games there in recent years. He's had some up and down years, but he's also had some of the best seasons in program history. And I think if you look at it from a culture perspective, from a program building perspective, and particularly from a development perspective, he checks a whole heck of a lot of boxes that Penn State should be looking for. And he's also, an Ohio native. So if you look at the footprint of the Big Ten and a coach with experience in the area who understands the area, I think Matt Campbell is a perfect fit. And one of the areas I think that really shows out is last year, Iowa State had 2 NFL, draft picks at the receiver position, and Matt Campbell's position at Iowa State the entire time, he's had 4 wide receivers drafted, which is almost as many as Penn State has had in James Franklin's entire tenure, except the difference is when Matt Campbell got him, they were 3-star players, and he turned them into NFL players. Penn State's biggest problem has been getting talented players at those positions and developing them into NFL talent lately. I think that's something he would fix immediately, and I think that you would still continue to see Penn State churning NFL players out year after year all across the board.
So I think it's really I love that one. Good.
No, go ahead.
No, Tom, I think it's a really great pick. I mean, I'm going to go with Eli Drinkwitz, though, the head coach at Missouri. 7 straight bowl games here. If you look at it, what is one of James Franklin's main problems? He doesn't score points. Eli Drinkwitz is a guy who scores a lot of points. His teams compete at Missouri. He's going to win 30 games in 3 years at Missouri. That's really hard to do. He's been pretty progressive on the NIL front. The guy embraces recruiting. Also, one of the hallmark of good coaches is that they have to replace coordinators, and they do so repeatedly in good fashion. He lost his DC to LSU. He's lost his OC. He's made good hires there to replace both those guys. I think there's some chance he could actually level up from James Franklin, which is really hard to do.
All right, so I think I might be taking crazy pills because how do we get to this point? We've had 2 guys off the board so far, and 2 of the most obvious names aren't there. And I know Tom put it out there that you can lure away. This is Penn State. You should be able to lure almost anybody away from any of those programs. So I'm going to go with one of the names that has been speculated. I think there's only 2 names that have to be the home run hires. I'm going to go Kirk Cignetti. What he's done at Indiana, and not only Indiana, going back to when he was an assistant coach at Alabama, and he said, you know what? I'm tired of being an assistant. I'm going to go take a Division II job. He goes and wins at that level. He goes and wins at Elon. He goes and wins at James Madison. And then he's made Indiana into a powerhouse program in college football in just 2 years. I think this is the obvious choice. If Matt Rhule says no, I think it's got to be Kirk Cignetti. He's got somebody who's won at every level. He's a culture builder. I think he can take the culture to the next level to make it a championship level. He brings an automatic amount of swag in there. He brings pedigree. Kirk Cignetti would be my guy.
I don't think there's a culture problem at Penn State. I think this program is pretty healthy. I think that whoever walks in, they are inheriting a good program. Whoever walks in doesn't need to change a lot of stuff. They just need to be able to level up and maybe even just a change of voice. So what about a voice that's familiar? What about a voice that grew up there? What about a voice that loves and adores this university? You got it. Urban Meyer. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Urban Meyer. It's not Urban Meyer. All right. It is Matt Rhule. Of course it's Matt Rhule. And I tell you what, we saw Matt Rhule address it on Monday at the press conference. Not a denial. We know that Matt Rhule is someone who is well regarded across college football circles. Taking over at a place like Penn State, given where Penn State is right now, is not at all the same thing as trying to get Temple up to competitiveness. Is not at all the same thing as leading Baylor out of the darkness, or even taking a Nebraska program that had slipped so far from anything close to what the program standard was in its heyday. No, he's got a Penn State program that has been knocking on the door. If you're Matt Rhule, this is an incredible opportunity. And if you're Penn State, you've already made an incredibly emotional decision, because logic and sense, throw them out the window. Logic and sense don't say you move on James Franklin. We heard from Pat Kraft right there, and he even said, yeah, I was going to sleep on it, but I just decided to make the decision. Those are emotions. And an emotional hire right now, that's going to be Matt Rhule. So I will submit Matt Rhule as the name right here. Danny, you mentioned Rhule there off the top, and in addition to your Curt Cignetti, do you think that is the sensible choice, or do you think that it is one of those, it just seems so obvious we might end up there situation?
I think it's so obvious that you might already have it in place. Like,
wow.
If you're like, this was, I mean, if you're Pat Kraft, you're really going to drop $50 million to send James Franklin packing without having a plan in place, at least having some assurance. And this is maybe the only two people that know, maybe not even agents, are Pat Kraft and Matt Rhule. It is a simple phone call, because maybe you don't even leave a trail. Hey, man, we got an issue. Would you come here? Yeah, we'll figure it out later. Done. See you later. That's the type of thing that I think you have to see unfolding here. Not to mention, if on that phone call, you could say, do you think your quarterback could come with you? And I know there's some split decisions, even on this, split opinions on Dylan Rhule as far as just how good he could be. But I think that would infuse a fan base as well, to be able to get a coach and quarterback combo like Matt Rhule and Dylan Rhule. Then all of a sudden you would see this team be probably a preseason top 5 pick again, with a lot of excitement, without losing any momentum of what they brought with James Franklin that's been completely lost this year. So yeah, I think Matt Rhule is the most obvious choice. Chip, you mentioned as presser. I love Penn State. I love the time there. Don't want to say anything bad about Nebraska. And I don't even know if Nebraska fans would be that upset. I mean, I guess they'd be upset, but they'd be like, we get it. It's your school. You played there. And then Nebraska would be the next team we're talking about. But I do think Matt Rhule is probably the most obvious, right in front of our face choice.
Yeah, right there you saw on the screen the list of jobs that are already open. The dominoes that could fall could be massive, and some more hot seat situations to monitor in the coming weeks mean that, yes, we are setting up for a wild coaching carousel.